Hi everybody. In the last session we covered what is business and what is analysis. Along with that we also covered the business need and what is the source of the problem and what is the source of the opportunity. That is problem or opportunity is our business need. Now let's basically understand what is business analysis. Uh, Basically business analysis is that we analyze the business from a different perspective and and try to see how we can the business improve the business from different perspective. For example, you can improve the existing processes, you can improve the existing operations by introducing new technology or replacing the old or the legacy systems or improving one or more processes or replacing them, or you can do the re-engineering. So this is the various ways we can basically improve the business. But there is a other aspect of improving the business is also currently organization may be offering certain product and services. We may add additional product or services. That is an opportunity. So the earlier part we were basically addressing the problem, and the later part we talk about is in offering additional product or services or entering into some new venture or some new field, new industry, so that the organization can expand its the business in different areas, right? So this is the way we can see, okay, how the organization is basically strategically moving to a different direction, a and then what are the organization goals are there, and what are the immediate objectives are there, and how do we meet them. And in order to do that we need to analyze them in a systematic way. So that's basically business analysis. And when we analyze them, so in the process of analysis you may come across the various types of solution may be required in order to basically address the problem or address the new opportunity. So that process of basically addressing the problem or opportunity is all about is all about your business analysis. So in the process what we do, we understand where the problem is coming from, and or where the opportunity is coming from, and what is the source, what is the impact, and who are the stakeholders involved inside within the organization and outside the organization, and what is the level of impact is there, and how it is impacting on the business in terms of the impacting on business on the revenue or the brand value or the customers or the operations. There could be various ways you can basically analyze the impact, and based on the impact then you can recommend what is the best possible solution and how the solution is beneficial to the organization. So these few things we need to basically consider, and once we define that solution which can cater to your business need, that is which can address the problem or the opportunity that has been identified, right? So that solution at the high level, then we basically define that solution at the detail level. So when we say we define the solution at the detail level, so we have certain objectives we set and we know what type of a solution may be required, but we need to basically interact with internal as well as external stakeholders to understand their needs in terms of that solution. So when we collaborate with them and elicit the requirement, put those requirement together, then we have is a solution which is not only cater to the organization need, but also or it caters to all the stakeholders, including your end users, customers, regulators, and the auditors, sponsor, project managers, technical team, as well as the business team. All the stakeholders, it will be we will have to collaborate and understand their requirement and accommodate those requirement into the solution, so that solution is useful for all the stakeholders. The success of that solution or success of your the change is only when the users are able to use it and stakeholders are able to achieve their goal. if these things are not done, then there could be a issue in return on investment, or there could be it could be issue to the organization. The organization may not realize the investment, or may not basically address the problem which was defined, or may not be able to take care of the opportunity which was defined. So this is how we basically start with that, from the concept, and from the concept we define the high level solution, vision and solution, and from there we basically define for the detailed requirement for the solution, and then we consolidate them in the form of the requirement, or you can call them as a business requirement document. And from there we basically see, okay, this is a solution what we need, and for that we also need to understand what are the capabilities are required. Based on the future solution and the capabilities, we'll have to basically see whether what is our current state, are we uh, able to achieve the future state a, and the future state has a minimum requirement what we have today, because we are, when we are talking about improvement, we must have all the minimum the technology or the processes or the database what we are going to have in the future. So that's a benchmark. The current state becomes a benchmark for the future state, and based on that we basically build on the future state. And again we also have to see what is our current capabilities and how much investment is required in order to build the future capabilities, because just defining the future state is not good enough. We also need to understand what are the future capabilities are there in order to operate that future operating model, right? So all of that, it will basically help us understand the gaps, what is a future state and what is a current state, and then we identify the gaps, and those gaps becomes your the change or the systems or the solutions, and maybe it could be more than one solutions. Okay. And that is how we define them, develop them, test them, implement them, and basically uh, transfer that to the business environment, right? So this is what, or we can call it as a user community. So this is the whole process what we are trying to see, defining the problem or opportunity, and basically addressing them, and ensuring that the users are able to make use of that new solution, and or the customers are able to avail the new services, or they are able to buy the new product, and organization able to reach their goal by what we call launching that product successfully, and generating the target revenues, and again able to address the identified risk at the early stage. All those things are basically again part of your business analysis. Now all this thing looks or sounds little uh, I mean overwhelming, but don't worry about it. We will be addressing them in all these points step by step over a period of time, and we will be addressing them several times, not one time. Okay, one time at the high level, then later on we'll get to the detail level and further detail level, and then again we go back to the high level and get the overview of that. Okay, so we will be addressing this entire process at least 2 to 3 times. So all these terminologies what we talked and the process will be covered again in detail. Okay, now I just want to basically tell you quote you actually. There is a book called Good to Great by Jim Collin. In that book basically it is said that using the right technology becomes accelerator of momentum, not the creator of it. So the technology is basically facilitating your operations. Technology is facilitating your business and business processes. Okay, so this is most important. You need, as a business analyst, you need to understand. The good to great companies never began their transition with the pioneering technology, for the simple reason that you cannot make good use of a technology until you know which technologies are relevant, then you need to become the pioneer in application of that technology. This particular quote is the most important quote. Let me just copy and basically show you. This basically recap our this basically summarizes our role. Okay, so here it is. As a good to great, the book mentioned, actually it is as a good to great author, Jim, his name is Jim Collin, I guess, yeah, mentioned, using the right technology becomes accelerator of momentum, not the creator of it. The good to great companies never began their transition with the pioneering technology, for simple reason that you cannot make a good use of a technology until you know which technologies are relevant. Then you need to become the pioneer in application of that technology. Okay, so this is again the statement why I'm just talking about. Many times we address the problem or the opportunity from technology perspective, not from the business perspective. So the conceptually we need to see from the business perspective, everything from the business perspective. The reason is, here we are here to solve the problem, or basically build the solution to take care of the new opportunity. Okay, so that's the basically our role. Okay, and we should be able to evaluate what are the different technologies are available for addressing this problem or opportunity, and which technology is best among them, and how do we recommend them, and how do we select and use it and apply the technology and ensure that we are basically able to address the problem or the opportunity effectively. Okay, so that's the basically in summarizing a little bit of the business analysis. But now I want to give you a couple of examples. I'm not sure whether we have talked about those examples. Okay, the examples is basically the role of business analyst is very key. If you may be working on some very critical solution, and that solution may be used in uh, what we call a, um, maybe in the healthcare industry, or in the hospital, or in the robot which is performing the surgery, or it could be using in the aviation, right, or it could be used in some pharma company, or it could be used in a defense. So you can imagine who is the end users. So that could, based on their usage, you can see the significance of your role in building that particular solution, and the room for error, okay, is very very minimum. Now, a business analyst is responsible for analyzing the business needs for their clients and stakeholders to help identify business problems and propose solution. Within the system development lifecycle domain, the BA typically performs a liaison function between the business side of the enterprise and the information technology department, uh, or external service providers. But I would say it is not merely the liaison function. It is, we basically collaborate effectively, and we are a major partner in basically defining, developing and deploying the solution. Okay, now let's basically talk about few definitions. British Computer Society, that is BCS, the Chartered Institute of Account, IT, says an internal consultancy role that has a responsibility for investigating business systems, identifying options for improving business systems, and bringing the needs of business with the use of IT. Now let me a little bit clarify it. It can be internal as well as external um, role. Just a minute. Is it not clear for everybody or it is only for you? Others can hear me?